Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I will discuss with you how was the state built in France, Russia, China, and in the end I will let you know about why these three revolutions of France, Russia and China in the modern era meant disaster for us, the people. So let's get started. What you see here is a table from Theda Skocpol's book on these three revolutions. I will use her arguments because I think she has a great book on these topics and she did a great research in a comparative perspective. So, what are the similarities of the state building in these three big revolutions and countries? Well, the political military mobilization of the popular support in wars against the domestic counter-revolutionaries and competitors, and against foreign invaders. Yeah, so it's clear here. The politics got together with the army. They agreed on a contractual level, I guess, to put together their resources, which means money, which means media, which means weapons, to mobilize the society. Yeah, so this started from the army and from the politicians. There's no debate here that these three revolutions started from the popular support. No, the popular support was manufactured as usual. The grassroots level never had any saying in this. They were just figurants who needed, of course, to be mobilized. Against who? Against the foreigners and against the domestic opposition, yeah, the counter-revolutionaries, how they say. So horrible. I will in the end express you my opinion, which you already got to know, that I'm not a fan of these revolutions. When I started my political and historical journey, the professors or the teachers in school put these events, these revolutions, as something positive. However, they missed or they didn't know that these were not supported or started by the people, therefore they are not primarily for the people, not secondarily for the people, but these are started from the political and military elites. Okay, so that's the biggest problem with these revolutions. They are not popular revolutions. They started from a very small group of political and army elites. So, in France, the process started by the Jacobin proto-party, which mobilizes urban popular forces to revitalize the national army. No enduring bases in industry or among peasants. Okay, so industry or peasants were the counter-revolutionary in France, okay? And the Jacobins fall after military consolidation, the administrative consolidation only under the Napoleonic military dictatorship. Okay, so this is the second biggest problem with historians. They usually put Napoleon in a positive manner, which is totally wrong. We see that Napoleon was just a military dictator, which in today's terms would be equivalent with Duterte or some Thai or Myanmar general who governs the country by force. So totally miserable. How would you put Napoleon in a positive light if he was just a military dictator? Horrible. I'm so pissed on historians. Anyway, let's move on. So in Russia it was the Bolshevik Party, which mobilizes the industrial proletariat with no base in the countryside. Okay, so bit different. Here in Russia, as in France, the peasants opposed, so the peasants lost. However, the industry was part of the oppressors, the oppressors as in the revolutionaries, while in France, no base in industry. And Russia must rebuild state organization suddenly from scratch with coercive means. And to survive among peasants, the regime turns to forced collectivization. And crash heavy industrialization. In China, the urban-based revolutionary consolidation fails. The Chinese Communist Party mobilizes peasants for the guerrilla war and the land revolution. So as you see, China is fundamentally different because in China the peasants are the revolutionaries. And after 49, the party state controls industries but also retains and uses unique political bases in countryside. Now turning to our second topic, how is the new regime, Well, the similarities between these three big revolutions are that states are larger and more centralized, bureaucratic and mass incorporating than under old regime. The state is more autonomous at home and abroad, and the landed class privileges are gone. So in France, the professional bureaucratic state, the non-party controlled, is the new regime, promotes domestic stability and military expansion. And a private property society and market-guided economy with capitalist development facilitated, favoring richer property holders. So even if the similarities among these three is that the landed class privileges are gone, the richer property holders are still favored. So nothing changed here. In Russia, the party state, hierarchical, authoritarian and coercive, with state-propelled national economic development, emphasis on heavy industry and rapid urbanization, with exaggerated inequalities of status and economic rewards. And finally, in China, the party state relatively decentralized and mass mobilizing, state-propelled national economic development with much emphasis on agricultural and rural development, with attempts to reduce or hold the inequalities. So, back to my original promise that in the end I will tell you my opinion. I think these three revolutions were against the people. These were against the well-being of the people. These were started by elite military and political party who wanted to get rid of the old enemies, the monarchies, and wanted to rule by themselves, and they manufactured popular support, and in the end the result was a larger state with more centralized bureaucratic, and this is a disaster. This system is a disaster. We have armies, we have secret services and police, we have political legal class which claims this illusionary religion of the rule of law, but the law is, you cannot even define the law, is just a bullshit. Is just a bullshit society and system which purely crushes any individual who wants more, who wants a change, who thinks rationally, and who sees that this system is a disaster. How did we end up living in this disaster? Exactly by these three revolutions which were put in positive light by these new clerks of the state, professors, teachers in school mostly, but who never thought carefully about what is going on. They were just doing their job. Well, their job was to support a criminal regime. We all see in all the world today this system is a disaster which kills us because they have the weapons, they have the mass media to control the population and manufacture consent. So where did this nightmare start? From the political and military elites. A group of people. That's why what we need to do is destroy these two spheres. The army and the political parties must be destroyed. We don't need this centralized state and bureaucracy. This is a disaster. We need to move on. The humanity don't need this very, very primitive way of organizing society. We don't need the centralized education through the state. We don't need centralized health care through the state. Okay, these were the last two things that could be used as arguments for having a massive, large, centralized bureaucratic state. No, we do not need the central education because it creates inequality, and we don't need the health at centralized state level. We can have them at community level, and the military and the political parties must be destroyed. These are the sources of the evil, of our suffering, of our problems, and without these two systems we could be free, and finally we could move on to a better system that doesn't make us suffer, doesn't kill us, doesn't lie to us, doesn't keep secrets from us. Thank you very much. See you in my next video. If you liked this mini lecture on the state building and the new regimes after the revolutions in France, Russia, China, and my opinion on the current evils of our modern society, then like, subscribe, comment, and see you in my next video. Goodbye.